Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and your incredible co-host, Bobby Parrish, is here with us as well, back from a much-needed and well-deserved vacation. We come to you tonight with the topic of depression. Depression and adult survivors of child abuse. Every week we show up here. Who are we? We are Athena Moberg and Bobby Parrish, and we show up here every week for the adult survivor of childhood abuse community, specifically childhood sexual abuse. So if that is you, you're in the right place. This week we will be discussing the topic of depression. This is a live interactive Q&A broadcast that we do every single Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go over to Twitter and you can tweet out your questions, and we would love to answer them on the topic of depression. Every week, a new topic. Next week, we're going to be doing autoimmune disease and chronic pain. So if that is what your query is about, then we will talk about that next week. But tonight, we're going to talk about depression. And we want to welcome you, especially if you are tuning in on a podcast and you're listening from iTunes or Stitcher or another podcast platform. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. We love that you're here. We also want to remind you that this is a video and that you can find us on any Roku device by searching Roku for Trauma Recovery University, or our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV, or you can simply just search for Trauma Recovery University. We have over 100 hours of live Q&A in our video library, as well as a couple of shorter videos, a couple of special interviews with special guests on different topics such as anxiety or eating disorders. And this is just basically a channel for everything related to being an adult survivor of child abuse, everything you might come across. I have a couple of things written down here that we specifically come across if we are an adult survivor of child abuse. We have relationship problems. We likely have relationship problems. We tend to self-sabotage. We tend to lean towards lower self-esteem. There are sexual problems involved. And we have a lot of physical ailments, and we tend to socially isolate. So please don't be alarmed if those are some things that you identify with. It could be as a result of some child abuse that you incurred when you were younger. And we pull that apart on this channel, and we welcome you in, and we have a global community. I haven't announced the official number to Bobby yet, but Bobby, we are officially in, this is what YouTube says on the analytics, and I double-checked everything. I even emailed back and forth with them. We are currently reaching people, survivors, in 173 countries.
What? That's crazy.
173 countries. So if you are located anywhere but our most populated places that tend to tune in every single week, which is the United States, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, and I believe there's one more that's really big. And I'm blanking on it right now. But those are the ones that make up the majority of you that are here weekly. And the rest of you find us on the replays, and you're in 173 countries, and we're honored. And we come to you tonight with the topic of depression. As always, every single week, we have a complimentary downloadable resource for you, which you can have access to just as a thank you for being a loyal listener, viewer, subscriber, or just an awesome survivor. And you can just go over to one of our websites, and those are nomoreshameproject.com or traumarecoveryuniversity.com. And you'll see a tab that says downloadables. Just click on that, and you'll be asked for your email address. You'll get immediate access to not only tonight's downloadable one-page resource, which says depression one page, but you'll get access to our entire library of downloadable one-page resources there on our websites. And that's just as a thank you for being a listener, viewer, or subscriber, or just a survivor that decided to stop by. Maybe it's 3 a.m. 2 years from now and you're finding us. And if that's you, you are welcome here. We have a global community of just over 20,000 people that are all healing together in safety, and on Twitter and YouTube and other social media platforms here. And we're just honored to be a part of this community and to host this live Q&A every single week. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to my business partner, Bobby Parrish. She does have a trigger warning for us, as well as some exciting updates in our community regarding our conference in November. And thank you, a very special thank you to our conference coordinator, Tracy Powell, and to Matthew Pappas, who is our behind the scenes engineer, tech guru that helps us with all things website related. And just want to say a very special thank you to all of our volunteers, and thank you to Maggie, who does a whole bunch of research for us, and just countless other people that we need to dedicate a special episode to just thanking all the volunteers that help us out with stuff. So I'm going to hand this over to Bobby, and I'll take over the Twitter feed for you, Bobby, and please tweet us your questions using the hashtag #NoMoreShame, and tag us if you would, so that we can answer your questions. Take it away, Bobby.
Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be back from vacation. I'm not happy that I'm not on vacation anymore, but if I have to come back from vacation and be with some great people, it's all of you. So there we go. I send off that last tweet. Tweeting and talking are not my forte. I would like to issue a trigger warning. Today's broadcast does talk about childhood abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse. So make sure to practice excellent self-care while you're listening. And if you are triggered, just go ahead and shut the broadcast down. If you're listening to us live, the recording will be up on YouTube in a matter of hours. And if you're listening to the recording, it's not going anywhere. So come back to it later when you feel less triggered and you feel like you're ready to handle the topic. And maybe the topic just isn't for you. Maybe depression's not something that you need to hear about or you even want to hear about right now, and that's okay. You don't have to listen to this video. I think we've got maybe 110 other ones. Hopefully one of those will meet any need that you're having right now. If you are triggered or you're in crisis and you're in the United States, we would encourage you to reach out to our friends at RAIN. That's the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. And they are available at 1-800-656-HOPE, H-O-P-E. You can also reach them on their website. They have a 24/7 crisis chat feature, and the website is rain.org, RAINN.org. If you're in the UK, you can reach out to the Samaritans. They're a fantastic group that provides everything from phone assistance to local offices that you can go in and talk to someone. You can reach them on their hotline at 116-123. You can also text them at 0775-909090. And you can reach them via email at jo@samaritans.org. If you're in Australia, you can reach out to your national hotline, and that number is 131114. And as we get more numbers, I know that Athena and Jody helped us get some information on Ireland in the last couple of days, and I'm still very much catching up from being back from vacation.
Thank you, Jody.
Yes, thank you, Jody. So I'll get that up for everybody by next week. So we also want to make sure that you know about our conference coming up in November, on November 11th, 12th, and 13th in Orlando, Florida. You can register and go to the conference with us, where we would love to see you. And the website for that is Trauma Recovery University Live. I was just communicating with some of the speakers today. Jody Amon, she's fantastic. I'm so excited to have her there. We have an incredible group of topics ready for you. We have fun things, we have art, good food, all sorts of wonderful things. So go check it out, traumarecoveryuniversitylive.com. So yeah, we're going to talk about depression tonight. I would like to declare myself an expert, having dealt with depression for the majority of my life, and I am ready to talk about this topic, tackle it, and share both the hope with you that it does get better and the hard things that make it difficult even to cope with. So there's a lot of people on the Twitter feed tonight. So happy to see so many people. Christy and Denise and Sarah and Jody and Maggie and Matt. And who am I missing? Who am I missing? Did I say Christy? Christy's there. Oh, Sarah Marie is here. Simi and Jack. Alicia's here. August
and Maggie
and Dawn and Lindy
Jack and Jody and Dawn. And,
yes,
oh my
Beth,
gosh, there's a lot.
Matt.
Oh, I didn't see Beth. Where's Beth?
Beth is there.
There's Beth.
She has her picture with Hope, who is her service
I love
dog.
your avatar. I love it. I didn't mean to interrupt, Bobby. I'm so sorry. Let me know when you're all done with your announcements, because I have something special for you.
I am all done. I'm all done.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying hi to Beth really quick. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay. So you guys, Bobby and I, as per our usual, had a little meeting before we went live tonight. And we were discussing just this journey that we've been on. Today marks the second anniversary of this YouTube channel. August 22nd, 2014 was, as Bobby says, our inaugural Google Hangout.
Yes, yes.
And you know, the world is shifting, the world is changing. So much has happened in 2 years. As we shifted tonight from using a Google platform to using a YouTube platform, we do have some things that are not changing and that are not shifting. We are shifting and we are growing, and we are offering a live conference for you, and we're looking forward to that. But the things that don't ever waver and that don't ever change are the fact that Bobby and I are 100% committed to one another's personal and professional journey, our recovery journeys, and we're that committed to you guys as well. This YouTube channel and this community that started with 0, and here we are in over 173 countries, and that's in over 150 languages. Some countries speak the same language. I learned this over the past 3.5 weeks looking into all of it. But we just want to communicate with each and every one of you guys who are our family. You guys are our peeps. You guys are here every week. This doesn't change. You guys are the reason that we show up here every single week. You are the reason we get to do what we love for a living. We are so grateful to each and every one of you, and I am eternally grateful for this woman, for Bobby Parrish, and for just the role she's played in my own recovery journey and the journey toward the journey in recovery for so many of you as well. And I, along with our amazing assistant, Harriet, who's in the Philippines. Hi, Harriet. Harriet and I, we made something special for each and every one of you guys in our community, and for you, Bobby. And if it's okay, I'm going to share it. It will take several minutes. So if you are watching a replay and you decide that you don't want to watch this special thing that I'm about ready to share, it's a brief video. So I'm going to share a brief video. But if you would like to just fast forward and not watch this video and just get your one-page downloadable resource screen share teaching portion with no thank yous and no questions, Q&A, or anything, then you can go down in the description section of this video just before you hit the comments, and you can click the number that says if you're watching a replay and you don't want to hear us talk, click here. So that is just as a convenience for you. But if you feel like just feeling all the feels for just a second and sharing this moment with us, this 2-year anniversary for the next several minutes, then we invite you to stay. And Bobby and each and every one of you guys, this is for you.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is just a really quick message to say thank you. Actually, it's not a really quick message. It's going to be several minutes of a thank you message, but I just wanted to personally come on here and say thank you from Bobby and myself for the last 2 years. And couldn't have done any of this without you. So just wanted to say thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University.
I'm just so thankful that everyone was here.
We're so grateful for each of you every single week. You are the reason why we do this. You're why we show up every single week. So thank you.
We're both so honored that you spend an hour of your week with us. So thank you for being here.
You are the reason this community is so beautiful. You are the reason we've found purpose and joy.
Thank you so much for being with us this evening. We are so honored that you share your time with us.
We love each and every one of you. It is our honor and our joy to show up here every single week.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
We just absolutely love you guys. We appreciate you. We value each and every one of you.
So honored that you would tune in and listen.
Bobby and I are just so blessed and proud of each. We're just blessed to be here, and we're proud of each of you.
We're honored that you're here.
Thank you to all of you that are here early. We love you and appreciate you.
I so appreciate our audience.
We love you guys. We appreciate you. And we're grateful for you.
Thank you so much for being here.
You are the reason we do this. You are the reason why we are here. And we're just grateful for you.
We are so grateful.
We just want to tell you how much we appreciate you, and we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. So thanks for tuning in.
I just want to say thank you for being here. We're so honored that you come to spend an hour and a half of your time with us every week. And we don't take you for granted, and we appreciate you.
We absolutely love you. You are the reason that we show up every single week.
We're honored that you would take an hour of your week to spend time with us.
We are grateful for you.
I am so thankful that you're here.
We love you guys. You're the reason we're here every week.
We're so thankful that you're here with us.
We just really want to let you know how much we appreciate you.
We are so thankful that you spend an hour of your week with us.
Thank you for honoring us, and we just appreciate you, and we're honored by you.
Thank you, everyone, for letting us know that you are finding the resources and they're helpful.
Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. We love you. You're the reason we show up every single week.
We're very grateful that you're here with us.
You guys are the reason we do this. We love you guys. You guys are amazing, and you're brave and courageous, and we're grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and thank you for being tolerant of our continued technical issues.
We are so grateful for you.
Thank you for letting us spend this holiday evening with you.
We just appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for spending an hour with us.
I just wanted to take a moment and tell you how much I appreciate you.
We appreciate you watching the video.
We love you guys. We're grateful for you.
We're honored that you're here and that you spend time with us each week.
We love you guys. You guys are the best. It's because of you is why we do everything that we do.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here with us, everybody. We appreciate you every single week.
I am so glad that you guys are here tonight.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for sharing this information with someone who you know needs it.
I want to thank each and every one of you for your support of this awesome community.
We're grateful that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our normal every week people.
We are so honored to be here.
We're really grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting one another.
I am deeply grateful.
Thank you for your amazing support.
We love doing this, and we love being with each other.
Thank you for showing up for this episode of Trauma Recovery University.
Thank you so much for your patience and your kindness this week.
We see value in you and you are the reason we show up every week.
And we're really honored that you would choose to spend an hour of your week with us.
You are the reason we show up every single week, and we just want you to know that we're grateful for each and every one of you.
I'm so honored that you would spend an hour of your week with us.
Thank you for attending tonight.
And it's always our honor to have you with us, and we're very grateful that you would share an hour or an hour and a half of your day with us.
You are the reason why we do this every week. Thank you.
We are so honored that you are here.
I'm truly grateful for each and every one of our viewers and listeners.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for your patience tonight.
We are here for you.
Thank you so much.
We absolutely love you guys, and you are the reason that we are here every single week.
Thank you so much.
We are just so grateful. We are always so thankful that you guys have chosen to spend your hour of your week with us.
We're very grateful that you would choose to spend an hour of your week with us, and we're honored.
Thank you so much again for spending this hour with us. We appreciate you.
I'm honored that you were here tonight, and I'm so thankful.
You are the reason why we do this, and we're so grateful for you.
We are so thankful that you're here.
We love you guys. I'm grateful that we get to do this now for everyone.
I'm very grateful too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you. We honor you and appreciate your time.
We love showing up every week and being here with you.
You are the reason we show up every week. You are the reason that Mondays are our favorite day of the week.
Hey, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for sharing an hour of your week with us.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for spending time with your week with us.
Thank you.
And I'm so honored that all of you come every week and you be with us.
We just love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
I know it was long, but I knew you would love it. And we hope that you guys all really just know how much we appreciate you. It's obvious. We've said it in every episode. And we've translated it into over 150 languages, just to let you know.
Exactly. Yes.
In case your Google Translate isn't working, we got you. Now on to the topic of depression.
Yeah, really. What a shift.
That was anything but depressing, but you guys are in the right place if you're survivors and you struggle or know someone who struggles or lives with depression. And just thank you for being here. And we're so grateful. I don't even know what else to say. Bobby?
Yes. You know, you and I have talked many times about how we started this journey. Just two women with laptops and a chihuahua sitting in our living rooms trying to change the world. And it has not been without speed bumps. It has not been without challenges. And I know there will still be speed bumps and challenges ahead. But we're doing what we set out to do. And that's to make a safe, healing space for survivors and to share strategies with professionals on how to help survivors get better faster and easier. So that's one of the most exciting things that I am looking forward to our conference about is helping other helping professionals learn how to provide trauma-informed care. We need that so much. It barely a day goes by that I don't hear from someone who is struggling to find a trauma-informed therapist or doctor or psychiatrist or just anyone in their area who knows trauma, who can help them. So the fact that we have played a role in bringing that to fruition is pretty amazing.
It's very amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, we're going to talk about depression tonight. As somebody else said on the Twitter stream, I think it was Beth, that she's an expert too, and it's not a club you ever want to join, but if you join the club, we're glad you're here. I had my first episode of depression when I was 14 years old, and I am in my 5th episode of depression right now, which started 7 months a year after my son was born, and he's going to be 15 in November. So the odds are not good that I will recover from this episode since it's lasted so long, and because I've had so many, the odds are almost 100% that if I do recover from this episode, that I will have another one. So depression is a big part of my life. I take 3 medications to manage my depression. And if I didn't manage my depression, I would be actively suicidal if I didn't use my medication to take care of my medication. Good grief! Take medication to take care of my depression. Wow. If only the medication would help my tongue work. So we know what we're talking about. And I know Athena has danced in and out of those puddles of depression sometimes too. So
I definitely have.
We got your back on this one, and we've lived it, still living it. And we want to help you have tools so that if you're living it too, you feel like you can get better and that there's hope. Depression is a horrible hope stealer, and it's a liar. And we want to talk about truth tonight and hope. So,
hey, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
I know we had mentioned earlier that we were gonna talk about some self-soothing techniques. And I know that we mentioned it briefly in our one page, and I have another brief, like a really neat brief screen share.
Oh, great.
That I can share it after the one page if you would like. It's on self-soothing, and it is from the ASCA. Adult Survivors of Child Abuse.
Okay.
And it was on self-soothing.
Okay.
So if you want, I can share it. I can share it after our one page, or I can share it now. It's totally up to you.
Let's talk about it a little bit now. Let me offer first I cannot talk tonight. A definition of self-soothing. Most children learn self-soothing behavior with the help of their parents as children. For example, when they're trying to sleep, their mother or father will help them learn how to calm down, how to have a bedtime routine that leads to healthy sleep. If they're upset about something, their parent will usually sit with them and help them figure out what they're upset about and how to feel better. Self-soothing is a lot about learning how to nurture yourself and how to soothe your emotions so that things that would upset you or anger or frustrate you, you are able to work through and calm down on your own. And most children learn that when they're children because their parents help them learn that. And their parents also have self-soothing techniques. But for those of us who are survivors of childhood abuse within our family of origin, And those of us who were raised in families that were chaotic and dysfunctional, chances are high that not only did our parents not have self-soothing techniques, perhaps they were using drugs to self-soothe, alcohol, gambling, they were raging out at your family, your brothers, your sisters, their spouse. They didn't have self-soothing techniques. And if you would have asked them even what that meant, they'd have looked at you like you'd sprout 3 heads and 5 eyebrows. So they certainly didn't teach you how to self-soothe. And so most of us who are survivors did not grow up with the capacity to soothe the horrible emotional chaos that we went through as children. We're living in an environment that is creating fear, anxiety, despair, frustration, just being terrorized, and we had no way to cope with those feelings. More often than not, we knew that when one of those feelings came up, when we felt that way, it meant that abuse or being terrorized was soon to follow. So our brain learned to connect fear with abuse, anger with abuse, a spouse being violent with abuse that would lead to ourselves. And so those emotions couldn't just come and go. They came and they led to something terrible. And so we grow up without the capacity to soothe ourselves and soothe our emotions. But not only that, we grow up with a hardwired link in our head between fear and abuse, anger and abuse, violence and abuse. So now as an adult, we feel fear. Okay, fear is a natural response. There's nothing wrong with feeling afraid, but we don't have the skills to calm ourselves down. And we also have that hardwire in our brain that as soon as fear comes into our head, we are believing, whether it's conscious or not, that abuse is soon to follow. And so how many times have all of you been accused of overreacting to emotions, right? Yes, exactly. And then when we talked about executive functioning, if you remember this, go back and watch that video if you haven't watched it yet. Executive functioning, the damage done to our brain during childhood sexual abuse or childhood abuse, damages the part of our brain that helps us regulate emotions. So now we have damaged brain, no self-soothing, and fear and other emotions automatically connected to abuse. And that's just a recipe for emotional distress after emotional distress after emotional distress after emotional distress as an adult.
And hopelessness and helplessness.
Of course, because if you're feeling every day like something horrible is going to happen, why have any hope that it's going to get any better?
Exactly.
You know, and so we need to learn to self-soothe. So important, vital skill. So Athena, absolutely, let's share that. Let's talk about that. And then when we can talk about it in the one page, we'll just say, hey, this is the part, remember we talked about this.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, I'm going to do, that sounds great. I'm going to do a screen share really quick for you guys. And again, this is from the excellent work of the founders of ASCA. And I believe you can find their work at ascasupport.org, or it might even just be ASCA. But if you Google ASCA, then people want to offer you a way to get certified as a swimming coach. And even though it's the same acronym, we don't want to become swimming coaches. So just search, if you're going to search, if you search for ASCA, and it's the American Swimming Coaches Association, like put in child abuse or something. If you are really wanting to pop this up and have it be readily available, I have it on my desktop now if I need to reference something. So this is an awesome screen share on self-soothing. I highly recommend. I've read through several times actually. their workbook that they have. It's 115 or 130 pages, and very extensive work, and it's from a psychological standpoint. And as they so perfectly coined this phrase, I could have never thought of a phrase better. They have 21 steps for adult survivors of child abuse. There's 21 steps, and it is similar and different to the 12 steps that you have in addiction recovery. The parts that don't work for child abuse survivors is one of the founding principles of the 12-step movement, which, as what I was going to say, they so perfectly coined, was the 12-step movement. And everyone, people that started AA and all of the 12-step programs like Bobby's and mine, and programs like ASCA would not exist had it not been for the godfathers and godmothers, the godparents of step work. Like, okay, like we have like see it, stop it, change it. We have a trauma recovery model to know like where you're at and then what you should do if you're feeling a certain way. And then this organization, Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, they have 21 steps that you can go through. And Bobby and I are working on a framework for our trauma response model, similar to steps, but not the same. And just, they do a really excellent job at just laying everything out. So I highly recommend you can just download it's 115 pages or something. Just go through it. It's very helpful. It's a nice framework, and it's powerful and empowering to know that we have this information at our fingertips. So I'm going to share this screen share with you on the topic of self-soothing, what it is, and this is from Adult Survivors of Child Abuse. This is from their manual here, ascasupport.org. Bobby, can you see the screen share?
I can. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you guys. One of the most important skills for survivors is to learn how to soothe themselves emotionally. Most survivors never learn to self-soothe in childhood because parents who abuse are often poor at soothing themselves and consequently at teaching their children to self-soothe. A lot of this, you guys, is going to be redundant to all of the things that Bobby just said to you because she's amazing. But I want to go through this nonetheless because
that's okay.
It's helpful the way that they lay it out. However, it is essential to your recovery that you develop some capacity for self-soothing early on in your recovery journey. You will need this skill as you proceed through the various stages of recovery. Soothing is what good parents do when their children are upset. It often involves soothing touch that is warm and comforting. It can involve words that are reassuring, empathetic, and hopeful. It may involve activities that are physically, intellectually, or sensorily nourishing, such as taking a walk, reading a favorite book, or sharing a special meal. It can also involve daily practices that are spiritually uplifting and inspiring, such as meditation. When you can perform this type of caring for yourself, whatever your chosen activities may be, then you have learned to self-soothe. I love how they lay that out. If you, then this is the outcome. Like, it doesn't leave anything to wonder. Like, am I doing it right? Like, if you've learned to do these things that I just mentioned, then you have learned to self-soothe. You probably have your own list of self-soothing strategies. Some may be healthier than others. You will need to evaluate how you soothe yourself so you can retain the healthy practices and try to eliminate or control the less healthy ones. Then you will need to add some new strategies that can provide extra comfort during your most emotionally challenging times in recovery. And then it's a helpful little spot here that says the ways I soothe myself today. And then actually the next page, on page 32, which I don't have as a screen share, the next page, it says examples of, this page says, this is how I currently self-soothe. And then the next page prompts you and says, these are new ways I will begin to self-soothe. during times of distress. And then it lists meditation, deep breathing techniques, prayer, going for a walk, reading a book, positive self-talk. Bobby mentioned earlier that anything self-soothing for her involves calming words, and anything that feeds her soul. And I can't tell you enough how helpful it is when you can implement something like this. Someone posted something in one of our safe groups today. Is it really just all about setting aside 15 minutes every day? I'm doing this for myself. Like, is it really just that simple? And like, I was so blessed to see that, because it's like, I want to answer it. Yes, it is. And no, it's not. No, right. It's not just as simple as setting aside 15 minutes a day to do something nice for yourself. Like, then you're just going to magically like, woo, wave a wand, one and done, boom, you're good. Like, it's not that simple. If only. But at the same time, you guys, and Bobby is going to go through the one page, this beautiful one page that we have for you tonight, and we're going to go through some other things that will be really helpful. It's not as simple as setting aside 15 minutes and boom, you're good. But yet it is as simple as setting aside 15 minutes for yourself, only as a best practice or a good habit to adopt into the daily routine that is your life. Like, I start my day every single day. My morning routine is almost identical every single day, except for on Mondays with CSAQT. Then my morning routine is a little bit more rushed, because CSAQT is at 7 a.m. my time in Hawaii, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So, but my morning routine begins with that 15 to 30 minutes that I've set aside to really set my intention for the day. I'm in a quiet place. I allow myself time to be quiet within myself. I spend time with God. I'm a woman of faith. So my higher power is God. I spend time with God. I highly, if you have questions about any of that, like, you can obviously send us a message, but whatever it is that is your belief. For me, when I spend time alone with myself in the morning and I set my intention for the day, and I sit with my husband sometimes, we read our Bible, I pray for him, he prays for me, I pray for every single person in this community, not by name. Some of you by name I do actually, but not all of you by name, obviously, because I don't know all your names. But I'm in an attitude of prayer and meditation, and not only am I pouring out my concerns and my anxieties and emptying those off, but I'm also in an attitude of receiving. Like, I feel like I'm being filled up and fed by that time alone that I spend with God. And I feel like I'm proud of myself, and that God's like honoring that time and almost like multiplying it exponentially or something, because I've set that intention to make sure that I do that first thing every single morning. And I can't tell you how life-changing it's been in my recovery journey from childhood sexual abuse to have that best practice in place. And I dare say that even if something throws me for a loop and I'm traveling and that isn't necessarily like the way it all goes down, it has helped me to be more resilient. And I can roll with it and go with the flow easier than I would have before with my PTSD and my anxiety and my dissociative episodes, or even my bouts of depression, my low points when I had suicidal ideation, which I fall in and out of occasionally. So I've become more resilient, I believe, as a result of that time that I spend trying to empty off that load and just honoring myself, and not only like exhaling all of my stresses, but inhaling just the goodness that is God and the way God has made me and how he's gifted me uniquely to be here with you guys. So I recommend that. It's helped me with my low points and my depression, my suicidal ideation, and everything else that goes along with childhood sexual abuse recovery. And we're just so glad that you're here to like listen and learn about all of this. Bobby, what has been the one thing that's helped you with your depression, and like that is like a best practice that you do sort of every day? Like what is something that helps you?
It's so interesting. Sarah and the kids and I spent the last 3 weeks watching the Olympics. So my head is full of Olympics analogies tonight. And that's what I was thinking as I was watching the different languages flow across the top of the screen during the thank you video. To me, it's, someone says, is it as simple as setting up aside 15 minutes a day? It's the same as saying, so if I want to be an Olympic swimmer, is it as simple as practicing 3 hours a day? Well, yes and no. I mean, you've got to go out there and do the work, but it takes more than that. It takes a shift in your mindset. It takes using those 3 hours to not just learn the skill, but to learn the mindset that goes with the skill. So, Athena, when you talk about, who starts your day with that 15 minutes of prayer, it's not just sitting down and folding your hands and saying, okay, please God, A, B, C, and D. It's about, like you talked about, the mindset of pouring out the anxiety, the sadness, and instead
Breathing.
Right, and replacing it with calm and goodness and the things that help you to cope. So I think for me it is so important to have someone who I can say, no matter what, today is lousy. I wish I could die. And so it's not just about being honest with someone and having someone to say that to, but it's about knowing that I have someone who trusts me and has my back and who doesn't run around screaming, saying, oh dear, the world is going to collapse and this. It's just, someone who will sit down with me and say, okay, what's going on? How can I help? Self-soothing is about the time you invest in doing that, but it's also about what's going on in your head while you're doing that. So yes and no. It is about the 15 minutes, but it's not really about the 15 minutes either. It could be 5 minutes, but if you have the mindset that goes with it, and like you said this morning in chat, someone asked, what is self-soothing? And for me, self-soothing is what I would see in my head as the gentle nurturing that your mother would give you, or your father, either one. I don't attribute it to my father because just who my father is. It's the gentle touch. It's the soft, gentle, quiet voice that says, it's going to be okay. I know this hurts. I know this is painful, but I promise you, this is going to be okay. It's going to pass. And so for me, things that I know are self-soothing are things that are nurturing. And so I find things that fit that goal. And so I think for each of us learning something that's self-soothing, we have to know what's the mind that goes with the task. If I tell you, okay, just, go find a cuddly blanket and wrap up, that may not work because that may not mean soothing to you. So the act has to match the mind that goes with it. I hope that helps. I hope that's not incredibly even more confusing. But when you're looking for something that's self-soothing, looking for someone that communicates something that communicates soothing to you, and that will work. I hear Athena taking deep breaths. Slow, deep breaths are so helpful when it comes to self-soothing because it disconnects the fight or flight response in our head.
Yes.
So,
two things, Bobby. Two things came to mind while you were sharing that excellent example. Those excellent examples of self-soothing, which is on our one page that you will find as one of the things that helps us with our depression. Self-soothing is definitely one of the main things. You can get that free download on one of our websites. Harriet, if you could just pop up the websites right here on the replay. And and click on downloadables. Two things, Bobby, that came to mind while you were describing that. I was trying to follow along everything you were saying and think of my version. I know so many of the people are people that are here every week, that have watched every video. They follow along with the examples that we share, and they identify, or they try to find their version of what it is that we're saying to them. And I was doing that as you were talking. It was like I got to just sit here and participate for a minute and not lead. And when you were talking about someone to tell you that it was going to be okay, I thought of my dad for a minute. As most of you know, you guys were all here with me when my dad passed away last February. And I was here with you guys actually, like right after. When I was in labor giving birth to my son, my family, some of my family members were there, and there was lunacy. There was utter and complete craziness and screaming and yelling and violence and crazy things going on while I was in labor giving birth to my son. It was very, very traumatic for me. I actually had a mini stroke. I actually died for a second. Permanent brain damage from that, supposedly. But I was so overstressed while I was in labor, and then all the added violence that was going on was very triggering for me, and I actually stroked out in labor. But my dad was right there with me when all the other craziness was going on. My dad stayed with me by my side, and he went like this, and he told me that I could hold on to his thumbs and I could squeeze as hard as I wanted to.
Wow.
And that he wouldn't leave, and that it was going to be okay. And I grabbed onto his thumbs, and he ended up telling me later that he thought I almost broke one of them because I was in labor, you know? So that's kind of what happens when you're in labor having a baby. But it was very, that was really special to me, like to know that I could just hold on to his hand like that, and I could squeeze as hard as I wanted to, and he wasn't going to go anywhere, and that it was going to be okay. And then
he wasn't going anywhere. That's so powerful.
It is, because as we mentioned in our one page, Bobby, you took the words right out of my mouth. I love you. Jinx. Depression and abandonment are so closely related, you guys. Pete Walker has some amazing information on his website, pete-walker.com, on the abandonment melange of depression. It's just incredible, and just how depression manifests itself and how closely it is related to abandonment. And Bobby, you gave another very excellent example of self-soothing. You said someone could tell you to just go wrap yourself up in a blanket, and it might not be like soothing for you. When I moved here to this island 10 years ago, I have some we call it Hanai family, like aunties. Hanai means like adopted family that I had known since I was a little girl, and they lived over on another island. They flew over here to welcome us here, and they gave us leis, and they, you know, told us about the culture and like what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. Well, one of them made me a blanket, but not a blanket like you would think, like a blanket, like a warm, cozy blanket. But in Hawaii, it's always very warm. And so to keep cool, they would get 100% cotton, really, really, really thin 100% cotton, beautiful floral, like Hawaiian print. And they would sew it in strips onto the backside of like a bed sheet that was 100% cotton. And it's called a Hawaiian quilt. It's not a Hawaiian quilt like if you were to Google Hawaiian quilt, like where they actually do quilting, but it's like just like Hawaiian blanket or whatever. And that was their gift to me. And I'm telling you, you guys, I'm a 42-year-old woman, and I snuggle with that blanket. I've snuggled with that blanket every day for over 10 years. And it is soothing to me. Like, it is like a throw that is just over the back of one of the chairs in the other room. And I grab it and I hold on to it and I just sit with it. And I'm a 42-year-old woman, but I enjoy that cool. It's cool to the touch. It's beautiful. It's pink. It's Hawaiian floral print. And this island is a place of safety and refuge for me. It is just that blanket is like the physical manifestation of everything beautiful and amazing about my life and this healing journey that I have been on, deep in the throes of a healing journey for the last 10 years. So that is soothing to me, Bobby. That the blanket analogy it hit me hard. Like,
yeah, you know, it's interesting. People who make suggestions like, we'll go take a hot bath. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Or drink some more milk.
Yeah,
drink some more milk. Why don't you?
So
like, ew.
So if it doesn't match for you, that's okay. Find what matches. Find what communicates to you soothing. For me, it's not a hot bath. You know, there's nothing that can happen in that bathroom that's going to feel nurturing to me. There's just not. And I'm pointing because that's my bathroom behind that door right there. It's just, given my history as a child, no, not going to happen. But that's okay. Each of us has to find our own, and I can give you a list, 100 items long as things that might be self-soothing. But I think you need to know what's going to help you. You know, try some things, reach out for some different things, you know, talk to some people, get some advice. But I think knowing the emotional feeling behind the item, you know, what is emotionally nurturing to you, will help too. It'll help you find what you need. So, shall we look at the one page?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Thank you for sharing so transparently, Bobby, about all of that. And you guys, just thank you all for being here with us on our 2-year anniversary. We are so grateful for you guys. This is just amazing. And we're going to head into our one page. And you can get access to this complimentary by going to traumarecoveryuniversity.com or nomoreshameproject.com, and you'll just click on the tab that says downloadables, and you'll enter your email and you'll get immediate access. And it happens every single time, every single week. We haven't figured it out yet for it to not send you a new email every single week. I think we have one gentleman that enters in his email address, his name and email address every week, and the last week or the week before, he put in his name, and in parentheses he put for the 50th time. I wanted to write him back and say, I'm so sorry, I haven't figured out how to make it not do that yet. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will get there. We will get there. Okay, so let's take a look at this one page. Lots of links in today's one page. So obviously you print them out, it won't work. But looking at them online, I can't do it today because I'm actually looking at a JPEG because that's what works to show you guys on the computer better. But lots of links. There's the definition of depression from the Mayo Clinic, the diagnostic criteria, some fantastic information about depression and complex PTSD from Pete Walker. So I would encourage you to, you know, get the PDF and click through to those links. So let's talk about depression, and frankly, yeah, talking about depression is a little depressing. But we'll start with some definitions and we'll move into things that might help. So childhood abuse has a long list of potential after effects. And I want to make the point here that we're not talking just about childhood sexual abuse, any kind of childhood abuse, as well as chaotic family upbringings and neglect. I want to make sure that neglect gets moved over into the child abuse category for everyone in their minds. So it has a long list of potential after effects, ranging from physical to emotional to spiritual and relational. Clinical depression is one of those after effects. And I just want to clarify here for a minute that clinical depression simply means depression that can be diagnosed. It meets the diagnostic criteria. That's what clinical depression means. So let's look at, see, I missed that. Okay, adults who are abused as children have twice the risk of developing depression as adults who were not abused. And that's such a sad statistic. Unfortunately, the depression of those abused as children is also markedly less responsive to treatment, such as medication and therapy, as those not abused. We know this now, but when I was first going through the worst of my depression, the treatment I got, because I didn't miraculously get better after the second or third antidepressant they tried, was almost more horrific than the depression itself. They would call it treatment-resistant depression, or accuse me of malingering, or saying I just didn't want to get better. But that's not the truth. And now we know that if you were abused as a child, your depression is going to be much more treatment-resistant than those who were not abused. So let's look at the clinical depression definition. It's a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest. It's also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. You may have trouble doing normal day-to-day activities, and sometimes you may feel as if life isn't worth living. More than just a bout of the blues, depression isn't a weakness, and you can't simply snap out of it. Absolutely love this depression definition that the Mayo Clinic has given, and I want any of you who have ever struggled or currently struggle with depression to really read this one closely, because it does talk about how depression doesn't just affect the way you feel, but it affects the way you think, and it can affect the way that you behave, whether or not you can do your day-to-day activities. And it's not a character weakness. It's not a flaw. And there is nothing you can do to snap your fingers and just make yourself better. So I want you to read that definition and give yourself permission to acknowledge that what you're feeling is not only appropriate for what you've been through, but there's nothing wrong with you for being depressed. Depression can be diagnosed if you meet the criteria of having experienced a depressed mood or a loss of interest or pleasure in life for at least 2 weeks. And then that combined with meeting 4 of another set of 7 criteria. There are things like such fatigue, insomnia, recurrent suicidal ideation are some of the other criteria. And you can find the diagnostic criteria by clicking on that link. So if you've had a depressed mood or a loss of interest or pleasure in life for at least 2 weeks, you're halfway to be meeting the diagnostic criteria for depression. Survivors of childhood abuse are more susceptible to depression because of the brain damage we suffered, the abandonment we experienced as a child, our intolerance of distress, our impaired self-worth, and our lack of self-soothing skills. Pete Walker discusses our susceptibility to depression and how it can take the form of gnawing hunger or extreme sleepiness in adult survivors. We highly recommend that you check out Pete's groundbreaking work on his website and in his books by clicking here. It really is eye-opening to see the work that he's done connecting complex post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. And we are set up for it from the very beginning when we are abandoned by our primary caretakers. And keep in mind that abandon is both a literal and figural concept. So no, my parents didn't actually abandon me physically, but they abandoned me in terms of loving me, caring for me, protecting me. I was on my own at 2 years old. And then I thought it was my fault. I thought there must be something wrong with me that caused these people to hate me. And so I abandoned myself. And how many times have we talked about the horrible self-loathing and self-hatred that comes, the blame we put on ourselves, that comes from being a survivor of childhood abuse. And so we abandon ourselves. We don't nurture ourselves. We're not kind to ourselves. We're not compassionate to ourselves. Because of the cognitive dissonance and all sorts of things that happened when we were a kid, we abandoned ourselves. And Pete Walker does an excellent, excellent job talking about abandonment depression. So I really encourage you to take a look at that. To cope with depression and lessen its severity in your life, you may choose to try these strategies. Okay, first and foremost, seek some medical help to rule out any physical causes of your depression, as well as discussing whether medication, such as antidepressants, might be a good choice for you. I had some blood work done about 10 days ago while Sarah was here, and discovered that not only has my Epstein-Barr virus, which is the virus that causes mononucleosis, I had it when I was a teenager several times, very sick, not only has that reactivated, but my vitamin D levels are 9 when they should be close to 100. So oftentimes we have physical conditions that can contribute to our depression. And having a low vitamin D level, for me, having Epstein-Barr virus, which for very much part of it is fatigue, they can contribute. So please don't skip that step. Go to your physician, get some blood tests done, let them examine you and see if there are any medical conditions that are contributing. And here we go. We're going to talk about those self-soothing skills. Focus on learning self-soothing skills to help yourselves moderate the feelings of fear and abandonment that may be making your depression worse. Prioritize building up your self-worth, as this will help you combat the lies that depression tells us that we aren't good enough, worthy, or ever going to feel better again. Explore ways to increase your distress tolerance. Okay, fear and high emotion were typically precursors to abuse in childhood, so we may overreact to them as an adult. Learning to sit with distress and not react will be very helpful in combating your depression. Care for your body with exercise and a healthy diet. Exercise increases the level of happiness-producing endorphins in your brain, and a healthy diet. We did a video about nutrition, and Athena talked extensively about the anti-inflammation diet. All of those things can counteract many of the effects of stress and abuse. Seek safe support. Depression can rob us of our perspective and the truth of who we are and what our life is worth. Having the support of those who care for you non-judgmentally can help you see things with clarity rather than through the lens of depression. And I'm going to say that again. Depression colors how we view the world. It's like having a pair of glasses on that we don't realize we have on. And when you have someone in your life whose vision is not clouded by depression, they can help us see with greater clarity. And we need that. Consider accessing help through different forms of therapy and therapeutic modalities, such as spiritual counseling, coaching, or another helping professional. Cognitive behavioral therapy is considered the best type of therapy for depression, but as survivors, we often benefit the most from a supportive group of other survivors, expressive therapies, and a one-to-one therapeutic relationship, which can take many forms. And the last piece is that we always, always, always encourage you to reach out for help if you're having persistent suicidal thoughts. Depression and our abuse can cloud our thinking and cause us to think our life isn't worth living. It is. There is great hope. Please reach out for help if you are feeling suicidal. And we invite you to join our growing virtual community of brave survivors, and go ahead and click there to get some details. And that's it.
Hey, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
I had someone mention earlier, I think I lost it. Where did it go? I had everybody start a list of some things that help them to feel self-soothed. There was a tweet on here. Oh, I know what it was. I believe it was from Liz. Was it from Liz or Lindy? I can't remember now because I just did so much. Okay, you guys. The tweet said something along the lines of, I think I was living with depression for years and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And yes. And I want to just, I really want, this is not a, like, hey, everybody, let's diagnose ourselves. You know, there are a lot of really bad things that can happen when we self-diagnose. And not the least of which is that it causes us anxiety and we don't get the help we need. Please see a medical professional. So this is not, I don't want you to diagnose yourself, but I am telling you that it is quite possible that if you are living with a lot of the symptoms that we talked about, especially in the one-page Mayo Clinic's definition of depression, and then there's even a link where you can click on the diagnosing factors of depression in the one page, and you can find that at nomoreshameproject.com or traumarecoveryuniversity.com, and just click on downloadables and look for downloadables depression one page. You guys, it is very possible that you've lived with depression for all these years or whatever, and you didn't even know it, and that you were never diagnosed properly. And there are we have a video. Harry, if you could pop up the video right here on common misdiagnoses for adult survivors of child abuse. There are a lot of common misdiagnoses, but there's also a lot of wonderful help that you can find when you receive proper medical care. But if you are living with symptoms of depression and your mood is very, very low and you're just not interested in life and you don't have any energy whatsoever, and you can't get out of bed. Oh, God bless you.
Sorry. That's
okay. Bless you. I don't know if it was a cough or a sneeze, but I'm saying God bless you for some reason. So, it is very possible. It is very possible that you could be living with depression, is what we're trying to say. And if you are experiencing symptoms, please, please, please do not allow our culture to shame you into not receiving the support that you so deserve. There is, especially in certain subcultures right now in the world in 2016, there's a huge stigma attached to anything mental health related. There's someone who's actually doing an excellent job of making sure that we're reducing the stigma and hopefully deleting it attached to mental illness and anything mental health related, and that is Katie Morton. Katie Morton has an awesome YouTube channel that talks about tons of different subjects. I believe it's just youtube.com/Katie Morton. And please don't allow the subcultures that are out there right now to shame you into silence. Because remember, Bobby and I always say this, shame, hence the hashtag no more shame, shame can only stay alive in silence and secrecy. The moment you use your voice and you reach out and you do the scariest thing in the whole wide world, which is actually saying something, or reaching out and getting the support you deserve, or using your voice, Shame can no longer live. Shame cannot survive. It might come back. And that's when we recommend getting plugged into an awesome, safe community of people where you're actually using your voice and you're actively involved in receiving positive messages that share with you that you're not just crazy and useless and all of the list of things that you were told by your parents if you're on this channel and you're an adult survivor of child abuse and your child abuse was in your home. It was part of your upbringing. You know, you're not just, you know, lazy and good for nothing and you do nothing but sleep and no, you're never going to amount to anything and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Those gremlins, those old tapes that play, that's not the truth. Okay? Use that voice. Reach out. Get the support you so deserve if you think you might be living with depression. Because there's help and you deserve support. You deserve safe support and you deserve healthy, trauma-informed recovery from what you've been through. Trauma-informed. That means someone who's not going to shame you or silence you, or they're going to take a trauma-informed approach, which is very empowering for you, the survivor, who wants to forge on ahead and live a life that is meaningful. So please don't remain silent. Please receive the support that you so deserve. And if you think you might be living with depression, like I didn't know that that's what I was living with. I just thought there was something wrong with me. Like I thought I ate something bad, or like there was something wrong with my diet, or like I didn't know that my low points were mental health related. I just didn't even know. I didn't even think about it. So going for a walk, any type of exercise helps so much. When your PTSD flares up and you're dealing with a bout of depression, that is when suicidal ideation, it can happen that's like a prime territory, like a perfect environment for suicidal ideation. So we just, as Bobby was saying, and as our one page urges you, please reach out and get the professional help and support that you so deserve, because you deserve hope and healing and support, and you're amazing. So, what do you think, Bobby? What would you like to say to everybody before we transition into welcoming anybody that's new? Or,
you know, having struggled with depression for most of my life and having had very dark periods where I felt like it would not get better, I'm here to tell you it can get better. And I still want to reach out and slap someone on the head when they say that suicide is a permanent answer to a temporary problem. Because feeling depressed was never a temporary problem for me. It was a very persistent problem. So it takes time, and it takes work, and it takes finding the best providers for you. I have a psychiatrist now who I just adore. She lets me text her. She'll let me Skype her from home if I don't have enough energy to go into her office. She's just the bomb. And she makes all the difference for me in the treatment of my depression. So I know as hard as it is to be depressed and to shop around for good providers, it makes a difference. It can get better. Even if it doesn't completely go away, it gets better. It gets livable. I can't remember, again, Athena, where you got that quote from, but it can get to a point where you can bear the pain of depression skillfully.
yes, bear the weight of your pain skillfully.
Yes.
That's from one of the DBT workbooks and books that I use with my clients.
Okay.
It's from someone who wrote a book on DBT, I believe, unless I'm paraphrasing it. But yeah, that's the whole goal of DBT and dialectical behavior therapy. Sorry to be using jargon, you guys. We're not trying to jargon you to death. Dialectical behavior therapy is a lifesaver. Really, it encourages emotional regulation, distress tolerance, mindfulness, and it's very focused on doing what's right for you in your own body and what feeds your soul. And we are all about that. So I highly recommend anything dialectical behavior therapy related. There's a great workbook on my desk right there that I shared last week, I believe, or the week before. And I use that with almost all of my clients, not all of them, but highly recommend. And we do learn to bear the weight of our pain and our memories and our symptoms skillfully over time. But this is the thing. Every one of my clients says, when, Athena? When am I going to be better? When? Tell me when. Tell me when I'm going to be better. I mean, it gets ugly. And there's no answer. Every single person is different. And what I can promise you is, while I don't have that answer, as you choose to intentionally focus on things that are self-soothing, you learn to focus on learning about distress tolerance, self-compassion, self-championing, emotional regulation. As you choose to focus intentionally on those areas of your life, over time, you'll be cruising along and you'll go, oh my gosh, I haven't been triggered or had a flashback or been depressed in like a month. Whoa, okay, I'm weird. I'm freaked out. The rug's going to get ripped out from underneath me now. I'm not depressed, suicidal, triggered, or having flashbacks for a month. Something bad's got to be happening. That's usually where we go to. But the cool thing is over time, as Bobby and I always tell you guys, when you make healthy choices on a daily basis that are honoring to you and your recovery, over time you become more resilient. And that's pretty much the definition of resiliency, Bobby. Wouldn't you say? Learning to bear the weight of everything skillfully, the weight of this recovery. I mean, it really just helps. Are your memories going to poof go away? Like, oh, I was never abused. Life's awesome. Like, no, it's not going to be like that. But we do learn to bear the weight of the pain of those things that we never had, or that we did have that we didn't want. We learn to bear the weight of the pain of that, the weight of that skillfully. And we choose to have a meaningful life, make a difference in the lives of others, choose joy. When you're feeling depressed and you're living with clinical depression, it is not as simple as going, I'm going to choose joy today. It's not like that.
If only.
Yeah, if only. You can't. That's why if you're experiencing these symptoms that we're sharing with you, we would love for you to reach out and get professional help. Don't allow that stigma to keep you down. Don't allow the subcultures out there. I keep referring to these subcultures, and someone's going to end up emailing me and tweeting me going, what did you mean by that, Athena? So I'm going to tell you. In certain Christian circles, if you have anything wrong with you whatsoever, it's because your faith isn't big enough. And you didn't pray enough, and you're living in sin. And I'm here to tell you right now that that is not always the case. And anyone saying that to you is part of the problem and not the solution. So please, 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 if you are a woman of faith or a man of faith like I am, and you hear people just yakking, saying stuff like, oh, they must be living in sin, that's why they have MS or fibromyalgia or chronic pain or depression or anxiety or PTSD, I am giving you permission to, in your head, be like, are you kidding me right now? Like, they're obviously ignorant and they don't even understand. They don't know because they haven't walked in my shoes. And it is okay for you to not listen to that person. I'm giving you permission to not listen to them, because I'm telling you right now, that is not always the case. We are talking next week. Don't miss this. Bobby and I next week will be covering the topic of chronic pain and autoimmune disease and how it relates to our child abuse.
Yeah.
And how they're connected.
And you know, it's so interesting, Athena, as you were talking about the culture, what was going through
subculture.
Yeah, what was going through my head was my ex-husband is from a different country, and the country that he's from, mental illness is a character flaw. There's no biological reason for it. And so,
well, that's how the church would like to think it is sometimes too, though.
Yeah. But it's interesting, as you were thinking, the Christian community in my head was going, oh, I know that subculture too.
You know what? That is perfect, Bobby. Each of you out there knows if I say subculture and they're whacked out, there's some of their thinking is just whack. And it's just not, it does not line up with what you know to be true. Bobby was thinking of a subculture of her ex-husband from another country, and I was thinking of a subculture that I am very involved in because I am a woman of faith, and I do love God, and I do love other people. But there are some of my Christian brothers and sisters that are not easy to love. My husband calls them love expanders. And, those people out there that want to minimize and they want to say any sentence to you in the whole wide world that starts with the words, well, at least. Yeah. Nothing good has ever happened ever in the world when someone starts a sentence with the words, well, at least. Like when my dad passed away and I came back and this particular person, and I was struggling with deep, deep, deep depression and unresolved grief and unresolved anger and a myriad of different emotions that were taking its toll on me mentally, emotionally, and physically, as you can possibly imagine with the death of a parent. And I came to church because church is a hospital for the broken and not a country club for the perfect. It's just not a country club for the Christians. Everybody gets to dress up in their Sunday best and go hang out at the country club. No, it's a hospital for people who are broken and need prayer and need help and need love and need compassion. And someone so perfectly put it, they came up and asked me how I was doing. And I said, I was doing okay, with the death of my father, etc. And without skipping a beat, she said, well, it could be worse. At least you're not an orphan.
That's just outrageous.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But those are the same people that like to think that mental illness is a character flaw and that something's wrong with you when you need to go to the doctor because you have PTSD, because you were sexually exploited as a child, or you were beaten, or you were neglected, or you were starved, or you had a myriad of different ways that you were abused as a child. Those are the same people that say that you should just get over it. And I'm here to say that you're not helping anyone. You're not making anybody love Jesus. People hate Jesus because of people like you. Yeah. I'm going to step off my soapbox now because, boy, can I get on some rants when we start talking about church, because there is just a lot wrong with the way I was told when people come up to pray, because I serve on our intercessory prayer team. I love praying for other people. It's just something I love to do. Like, I don't know, God's just given me a heart to pray for other people. I was told that I'm just a bridge. Athena, you're just a bridge. Don't let it exhaust you and get to you. You're just a bridge. They're just sharing, and you're just a bridge from them to Jesus. No, I'm sorry, but I'm called. I was literally commanded and called, like tapped and told in the Bible that I'm to bear other people's burdens. We are to bear one another's burdens and therefore fulfill the law of Christ. Like, they're coming up to me so that I will listen compassionately, listen to what they're going through, compassionately care, let them know they're not alone, and pray for them. I'm not just a bridge. I'm a vessel. Like, hello, this is the same person. But it's one. Well, you should just get over it. It's, at least you're not an orphan. You're just a bridge. There's something wrong. I'm sorry, but anyhow, I just need to just stop now. It's quite depressing. See how I tied that in, Bobby?
You did. Good segue. Yay!
Yay. Okay, well, Look, we gained viewers. Wow. My soapbox rants, people are like, this blonde girl is crazy. Let's stick around and see what she does next. So we want to thank each and every one of you that show up here every single week. Thank you for giving this video a thumbs up and for liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and for subscribing to our channel. If you're not already a subscriber, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel and share this video with someone you know that might be an adult survivor of child abuse, and perhaps they're living with depression or struggling with bouts of depression. If you think it might be encouraging for them, we would love for you to share it with them. We're going to go ahead and do a couple of screen shares. And just to let you guys know, if you're new, how you can reach us and how you can get plugged in. How can you attend some weekly Twitter chats? How can you get plugged into a Facebook group? How can you feel less alone? That's what we're going to tell you right now in the next 5 minutes with some pretty screen shares from Miss Bobby. And thank you for being here tonight on our 2nd anniversary of this YouTube channel.
Yay!
Yay! Confetti!
Oh, wrong page. There we go. Okay, this is how you can connect with us. I'm going to make the page bigger. Okay, email. I am BobbyLParish@gmail.com. Athena is AthenaMobergspeaking@gmail.com. And then we have our joint email address as nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. We'd love to connect with you on Twitter. I am Bobby L. Parrish. Athena is Athena Moberg. And Trauma Recovery University is Trauma Recovery U. And the capitals don't matter. Twitter doesn't care about capitals. On Facebook, you can like our Trauma Recovery University page. I have my professional page at Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. I have my personal page, Bobby Parrish. Athena's professional page is Athena Moberg Speaking, and her personal page is Dawn Athena Moberg. You can find all of our videos on YouTube, Roku TV, and Google+. All you have to do is do a search for Trauma Recovery University. You can watch all of our videos 24/7, 365 on our webpage, which is bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U. And those capitals do matter because bit.ly likes capitals. I feel like I'm giving a geography lesson.
I am going to make sure that when we launch our new website that we don't have to worry about the capitals, that we'll just get all the links. I'll purchase all the links, all the bit.ly links for TRU, Trauma Recovery U, so that no matter what, you won't have to keep saying the capitals matter or they don't matter. Like you'll just be able to talk. Good night, Denise. Denise says good night.
Good night.
Ooh, Don Hendrickson says, "May the bridges I burn light the way."
Yes. Sometimes you have to burn those bridges. It's the best way to go. Okay. Woo, too big. If you would like to join us in Safe Community, we have 4 different ways that you can do that. We have 3 Twitter chats each week and our Facebook support groups. All of these are free. They always will be free. Never will be a charge for any of them. On Monday, we have our first Twitter chat of the week. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time in the UK. The hashtag is CSAQT, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. The hashtag No More Shame goes with our second Twitter chat of the week, which is if you're with us live. That's what we're doing right now. It's a combination video and Twitter chat. That is at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern on Monday nights, and 2 a.m. in the morning for all of you in the UK. Tuesday morning, 2 a.m. Then Tuesday evening is the original sex abuse chat started by Rachel Thompson and myself. It's at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Eastern, and Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning for those of you in the UK. If you would like to join one of our Facebook support groups, oops, too big. I'm going to make this bigger and share this with y'all. We ask that you follow this 4-step process. It's so much easier than if you send us an email or send us a DM. To be honest with you, I don't even hardly look at my DMs on Twitter anymore. We would like for you to follow this process. The first thing that we want you to do is like the Trauma Recovery University page and then send friend requests to both Athena and I. One of us can usually get to you before the other. We're in 2 markedly different time zones, 2 very busy schedules. One of us is going to be able to reach you sooner than the other. Once one of us has accepted your friend request, then send us a Facebook message saying, I'd like to heal in a safe community, or something like that. We will talk with you. If we don't know you, if we can't tell from your timeline, if we haven't engaged with you on Twitter or Facebook or at a live event, we will probably ask you some questions to determine that you're safe. And the reason we do that is to keep predators out of our support groups, because the safety of those in our support groups is truly our primary concern. So after we talk with you and we determine you're not a predator, then we'll go ahead and put you in one of the support groups, and you can enjoy the incredible support and lack of judgment and information that comes from being amongst a group of survivors.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you so much for sharing that, Bobby. Thank you guys for being here and for being with us on our 2nd anniversary, and for watching the beautiful video that we made for Bobby and for all of you guys with all 150 something different languages. Amazing, totally amazing. And Simi actually just tweeted out, you guys, don't forget, we are still looking for submissions for an adult coloring book. It's not a contest. This is not a contest. It's not an adult coloring book contest. We're just looking for people who want to donate their artwork. And if you want any information on this adult coloring book that we are going to publish as a fundraiser for all the work that Bobby and I have been doing for 2 years, then you can contact Simi. She is on Twitter at @WaveMistress, or you can email her wavemistress@gmail.com. She has graciously volunteered to collect all of the submissions, and her husband is helping with any of the line drawings that need to be need to have like the white be extra white and the black be extra black, like the contrast be good, so when we print it and get it published. So thank you to their beautiful family for offering just their hearts and their time to collect all of the submissions from you guys. The theme of the adult coloring book is butterflies, which is quite apropos, considering that as Bobby and I were talking about before the broadcast, you know, we are all going through this metamorphosis of recovery from child abuse. Who knew that abuse that happened 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago would still be affecting us today in so many ways? Relationally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, just in every way, financially. And so many of us are affected by the lasting wounds of abuse during childhood. Your artwork of a butterfly or butterflies donated to us, knowing that we will be using it as a fundraiser in an adult coloring book, will help people that you probably will never meet. And we're grateful to you. So thank you for being here tonight with us on our 2nd anniversary. I was just sort of laying back, just sort of like kicking back with you guys, wasn't I? Thank you for being here with us on our 2nd anniversary. And we love being here with you. And I know that I speak for Bobby and all of our volunteers, that without you guys we wouldn't get to do any of this work, and this community would not be beautiful and incredible and powerful and strong and compassionate if it wasn't for you. So thank you for being the most important part of this community. And I'm Athena Moberg, and this is Bobby Parrish, and we love bringing you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. Bye, guys.